Hello, hello, hello. What's going on, people? What is going on? We got the very interesting technical difficulties, so we apologize for that over here. Um, like you said, man, hey, the heavy hitters live over here on the post game channel as the Atlanta Falcons defeat the Carolina Panthers in the home opener. I apologize for the technical difficulties earlier. I don't know what the hell happened. But let's see if we can wait till we get a few people to get on in here. And let's make this thing the right way. It's been a very interesting couple days. Let's see who we got in here. Lakewood Lenore, Terry Lloyd, Pat Norris. Yeah, Teacher Red, we back. We just need you to get up in here. D. Coleman, Old Chicken Hauler, J. Diaz, JB. Yes, it definitely was a good win as far as the Atlanta Falcons. Let's see. Yes, Nathan, we are actually on now. Yeah. I don't know what glitch in this system done happened, but for some reason my internet started acting up as soon as the game was over. As you hear, the ice cream truck is around the corner, so it definitely means it was definitely a good victory. As we already said, man, hey, man, it was just one of those games. It wasn't the prettiest game in the world. It wasn't the sexy passing game as everybody looked at. But guess what? Hold on. Let's bring her to the stage. Hey, Drew, we live, man. We live, man.
Yo,
Atlanta Falcons victory.
yeah, can you hear me, bro?
As you already know, we got you. We told you so. Ready for it. You got the bell ready for it.
Yeah, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. There you go. That's what we were waiting on. Victory screech.
Hey, look, I called 28 to 14, but we still won by 2 touchdowns. 24 to 10, I'll take it.
So, Jew. So, what's your take on the game, man? How you feeling about how you feeling after that victory, man?
Hey, so as you mentioned earlier, it wasn't the prettiest game, but first off, we got to talk about the player of the game, which is Mr. Jesse Bates, the third himself, the free agent safety that we brought in. Man, he was huge today. 2 interceptions, forced fumble. Yeah, like to me, he almost single handedly like changed this game.
Oh yeah, definitely. Um, as we already know, like you said, the defense got one sack, but got 3 turnovers. And the offense, well, I'm gonna just say it like this: feed Tyler Algier the fucking football. Feed him more. So, Jew, that
Yo,
first half. So that first half of that game, the first half of this game, I want to get your takes on the first half, and I want you to let the people know about the adjustments that you feel like that they had to make.
okay, so like in the first half of the game, I really feel like we just was stagnant a little bit on the offensive side of things. The defense, they played well pretty much the whole game. But I really think in the game at first I was kind of getting frustrated, and I seen fans on Twitter getting frustrated with Arthur Smith's game plan of continuing to run the ball. But I really feel like in this game, because the Panthers had some of their weapons out on the offense, as far as the wide receivers like DJ Chark and those guys, he saw no reason to put the ball in the air a whole lot. I did hear the fans booing and things of that nature when we were running the ball on like third downs. But really, I really feel like that was a part of the game plan. We know that the Panthers, they're pretty much, they run a similar style of offense as the Falcons, as far as they want to play good defense in the trenches and they want to run the football, which we know we've seen that last season when they beat us on that Thursday night game, where Deontay Foreman went crazy with running the football. In this game, I was surprised to see Miles Sanders and Chuba Hubbard. Those guys ran the ball really well. I thought we would kind of shut their run down. But what we saw is what you were talking about, Kay, about Tyler Algier. Like, eventually what ended up happening is we just wore them down by running the football. You seen those 1 and 2 yard runs early in the game in the second half turned into 5 yard, 5 yards a clip carries. So I really like that Arthur Smith stayed patient, and it was a part of his game plan to kind of wear their defense down. And over time, that's what eventually happened. So even though it wasn't pretty, that's Falcons football now. Like 5 yards, 3 yards in a cloud of dust. That's the style of football that we play. We want to win in the trenches. And in this game, the Panthers, as I mentioned in my early videos that I did this week, their strong suit on the defensive side of the ball is their front seven. And we've seen that in this game. But I like that Arthur Smith didn't go away from our game plan, which we know our game plan is to run the ball. So we continued to run the ball even when it looked like it really wasn't working. We stuck with it. And I think that was key in this game, that he didn't panic.
Yeah, definitely. I think I kind of feel where the frustrations was coming at, because and I'm gonna ask everybody that's watching right now, um, and I'm gonna ask you, Drew. I want you to give me your honest opinion on this. When they featured Bijan Robinson on the field, did you feel like the offense was kind of getting kind of cutesy in a way?
Yeah, I was getting a little bit annoyed with the one play that Bijan Robinson scored on, where it was like that jet sweep motion, and then they throw the ball to him in the flats. I really didn't like. I don't like really a lot of plays always going side to side. I feel like we're best when we're going downhill. And you seen after Bijan Robinson had that one play where he scored and he had to make a crazy juke move, like a dead leg move, just to go score. After that, they pretty much locked that particular style play down, where he got tackled for like a loss a couple times, or he only got like 1 yard. So I really am not a big fan of that particular play. When he scored, if he didn't make Frankie Louisville miss on that first touchdown that he had, his first career touchdown, I really wasn't a big fan of that particular play. I'd rather us go downhill. I don't mind when we're getting 1 and 2 yards when we're going downhill, but all that side to side passing, like I said, I started to get a little bit of frustrated too, because I'm just like, we seen early in the first half, even when they put Tyler Algier in, and even when Bijan was running, when we ran downhill at them, they really couldn't necessarily stop us. They were limiting us, but they weren't stopping us. And I feel like a lot of those plays where we were throwing it in the flats to Bijan, I did think we were getting a little cute with those plays.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but that's why I was saying, man, like Tyler Algier in this game, in today's game, Tyler Algier was the tone setter for a reason. Like you
Yeah,
said, it wasn't all, like you said, it wasn't all about going side to side. It wasn't all about trying to juke motherfuckers. This is the first game of the year. This is a division game. And the best way you play these division games is you gotta bust somebody in the mouth.
exactly. I completely agree. And I really feel like earlier in the game, we could have gotten Drake London and Kyle Pitts a little bit more involved. They did try to throw the ball a couple times, but I really feel like they didn't do a good job, to me, in his game planning of throwing the ball to the outside and putting them in one-on-one situations. Like, we seen the big shot to Kyle Pitts later on in the game. But one thing that I can
Mhm.
say, and we seen this last year with Marcus Mariota, again, the difference between Marcus Mariota and Desmond Ritter, and we talked about this last season, you see that he gave him a chance. It was basically Kyle Pitts was covered by two people when he threw that ball up. But like I said, Kyle Pitts and Drake London down there somewhere. Throw that ball up. These dudes are 6'5", 6'4". They can make the adjustment. You know what I'm saying? They'll adjust to the football. Those guys that are playing that cornerback position are corners for a reason. They're not wide receivers. So if you throw that ball up, a lot of those guys can't track the football like Drake London and Kyle Pitts. Those guys are one of the two best as far as tracking the ball and high pointing the ball. You seen him make the adjustment. It was pass interference. He still caught it for a 30-yard gain. So I want to see more of that later on in this season as far as throwing the ball down the field, because teams can't match up with those guys outside.
Right. And like Nathan Floyd here said, rope a dope and body blows until the fourth quarter. And Falcon for Life here said, we won't win a lot of games playing like that. Passing game got to get together. It's going to eventually get together, but this is why you build a complete team. This is why you have a defense that gets turnovers. Give the offense the opportunity to do things. Correct. Because it, like you said, that is what you're gonna have to eventually rely on. You're not gonna get a 400 yard offensive production every week.
I completely agree, Kay. I completely agree with you. I mean, like I said, in this game, it wasn't necessary to put your offense or put your defense in harm's way. Like, this game was a field position game, and how well the defense was playing, I think that was the reason, like I said early on, that Arthur Smith just stuck with that running game, because it's like, my defense is playing so well. Do we really want to take a chance? Because if we could be completely honest, early in the game, the defensive line of the Panthers was getting after our offensive line because we were getting cute. And I really think that he was trying to prevent like a forced fumble, something unnecessary to happen to put them on a short field. Because if you think about it, how many times do we see our defense put us on a short field? Because Jesse Bates came away with 2 interceptions. He punches the ball out, calls it a fumble. Like, that was really the difference in the game. And I talked about that in my 3 Keys to Victory video. Pretty much everything I said in my 3 keys happened in this game. I said turnovers. We won the turnover battle. I talked about us running the football well, and I talked about us controlling the trenches, like enforcing the Panthers to throw the ball. And eventually later on in the game, when it became like a 2-possession game, we were able to pin our ears back and kind of get after Bryce Young because they had to pass the ball, which we forced them to be one-dimensional, as I talked about. You know, and we took that running game off the table because they were down by 2 scores. So, like you said, over time, we just wore them down. That's what I looked at. And I talked about that when we had the Heavy Hitter show about the depth. You've seen the depth of this Atlanta Falcons team. Like, we've seen the defensive line keep changing out, you know, that defensive line and giving those guys rest, allowing those guys to be at their best in the fourth quarter. And you've seen Grady Jarrett, Onyemata, those guys were fresh at the end of the game.
Right. And speaking of that, the defense, like you said, I think the stars of today's game definitely was that defense. Like you said, with the 3 turnovers, you get a couple sacks out of there. But I just think it's also kind of controlling the big plays. I remember, I forgot who it was in the commentator booth that was talking about, as far as Ryan Nelson was trying to control the big plays. Because, like I said, even at the beginning of the game, like I said, they weren't really getting off with Miles Sanders like that, but it was like Chuba Hubbard was the one that was creating the big plays for him.
Yeah, Chuba Hubbard was getting off in this game, but I really think it was just, you know, mainly, like you said, we were just trying to prevent the big play. And like you said, the defense definitely won this game. Like, it wasn't on the offense, but at the same time, I mentioned this, you know, during our Heavy Hitter show, that I didn't think that they were going to force Desmond Ridder to be the reason that this team won the game today. And that was the main reason, you know, we were talking to the Panthers fan. I was basically telling him, or the content creator, like, at the end of the day, you know, I knew that Bryce Young was going to have more on his plate than Desmond Ridder. So it was almost like the roles were reversed. You know, he was talking about college when Desmond Ridder was at Cincinnati going up against Alabama. You know, he had more on his plate, you know, against that talented Alabama team. And I felt like the roles were kind of reversed in this game. You've seen Bryce Young had a lot on his plate, you know, trying to carry that Panthers team, where Desmond Ridder, he was 15 of 18. As much as we keep saying like, he didn't play well, we didn't throw the ball well, which we didn't. We didn't throw the ball a whole lot. When you only attempt 18 passes in the game, when's the last time as a Falcons fan we can go and come out of a game saying we only put the ball in the air 18 times? Like when Matt Ryan was here, the average was at least 30 to 35 times in the game. We were going to pass it,
Right.
So in this
Right.
game, this is the new, like for all of the Falcons fans, get used to this new normal that this is going to be more of a run heavy scheme, So at the end of the day, the way that we won today is the way we're going to win a lot of football games, which is we trying to grind other teams down,
Mm-hmm. Right. So, like you said, once that offensive line kind of gets that gets the gelling, they got a game under their belt where they struggle. Like you said, it's gonna be able to open that passing game up for the Falcons, so you can really see the full contents of this offense. Because that's
Exactly.
essentially why. That's essentially why you saw Bijan Robinson with 6 catches.
Exactly.
This is why you see Tyler Algier with a couple catches. This is why you didn't really see Drake London get a lot of looks at it. Because they essentially what they essentially did was they just gave him some comfortable throws.
Most definitely. And like I was going back to with you making that statement, Kay, like you think about when Matt Ryan was here, how many times did we see like a game where Julio had 100 yards receiving? One game we had Julio had 100 yards receiving, Russell Gage had 100 yards receiving, and Calvin Ridley had 100 yards receiving, and we end up losing that game. So it's like, would you rather have those guys get those big numbers, or would you rather run the ball, do what's necessary to win the game? And in this game, like I said, it wasn't pretty, but I'd rather have the win than have the stats. 9 times out of 10, I'm taking the dub. You know what I'm saying? I don't care about just the stats. And that's what we've heard Arthur Smith state. And we keep telling, the fans and things of that nature in regards to Arthur Smith. They tell you what they're going to do. Like he said that numerous times, like, I don't want guys to just out here to get stats and fantasy points and stuff like that. We just want to win the game at the end of the day. So I'm completely fine. Even though it was ugly, as long as we got the W, that's all that matters. It's going to go on as 1-0, whether we threw for 500 yards or whether we threw for 10 yards. As long as we won the game, that's the mission. And we end up winning the game, 24-10. So we really pretty much controlled the game. It was just one of those grinded out old school games because the Panthers pretty much, like I say, they play a similar style to us. So both of the teams were trying to run the ball and play good defense. Neither one of the teams was trying to air it out in this game.
Like you said, 15 for 18 for a $116. Yeah, like I said, that ain't pretty.
Nah. But
like
what's
you said,
the stack, K, out of that? No turnovers. No
turnovers.
interceptions. You know what I'm saying? Just manage the game.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why I would say this was definitely a complete victory for the whole team in itself, even though it did start off real shaky. Like you said, Ritter kind of had a blunder at the beginning as far as catching the ball for -6 yards. You had Bradley Pinion shank a punt, but like you said, they had to lean on the defense to make plays for them. And like you said, the trenches matter. Like we keep saying to everybody, the trenches fucking matter. Defense matters. You can have a high-powered offense all you want, but if you got a defense that can stop that offense from scoring, is a greater weapon than having an offense that can average 40-some points with a defense that average giving up 41.
There you go. That's the key right there. Having an ability to close out games. And we've seen that, Clay has talked about that when he came over to this Falcons team. I told my wife when the fourth quarter came around, it was, I believe, 17-10. We went up by a touchdown and they had the ball. And I'm like, these are games last year that we lost. So I wanted to see if this team, because we've added those veterans like the Jesse Bates, like the Calais Campbells, like the Bud Duprees, will we be able to close out this one-score game? Because, last year, this would have been a game that we would have lost. You know what I'm saying? We've seen games like the game against Carolina last year at home where they throw that Hail Mary pass, down the field and they end up scoring. And if it wasn't for their wide receiver taking his helmet off, 9 times out of 10, they would have won that game. So it just goes to show you, like, running the ball and playing good defense is how we ended that game. sacking the quarterback and running the ball, running the clock out, basically.
Right. Now, like I said, if y'all wondering why Mad Mike Sports ain't on here, they were, a few of us was at the game. So like I said, you definitely gonna see them later on as far as the later post game show. We also have a post game show going over there with Blackberry and them. So y'all make sure y'all go ahead and check them out after this. Like I said, we're not gonna be on here too long since they got their show going on. But like I said, this is the makeup post game show. Uh so Jew, who would you give your game ball to for today's game?
Yeah, it's definitely Jesse Bates. Like Jesse Bates gets the game ball. He was the difference maker. Every time it seemed like the Panthers were going to go down and score and take a lead, he would eliminated that. And we talked about that all offseason when we brought Jesse Bates in. You want that guy in that back end that's an eraser. When he went down with a injury later on in the game, I was like, oh, don't tell me he didn't got hurt. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because he's that guy that he's a difference maker. You just seen him in the back end, the way he communicates, the way he flies around, and his understanding. It kind of is like Ed Reed, Troy Polamalu. It's different when you got that safety that's the eraser, the Earl Thomas, one of those guys like that that's just going to take the ball away when you least expect a play to be made. Because to be honest, early on in the game, we were doing a decent job of trying to stop the run and limit their yards for, when they were running the ball. But we really didn't get after the passer the way that I thought we would. Everybody would just stand in their lane as they was rushing the passer. But to me, I thought we would have more sacks in this game. But Jesse Bates, every time he seemed to come up with a big interception. And that's the reason I kept saying with Bryce Young, he's a rookie. He was making rookie mistakes. You heard them say during, when they were calling the game, Robert Smith said numerous times, like, this interception is the same one he threw earlier where he didn't see Jesse Bates sitting in the middle of the field reading his eyes. And he kept trying to throw that, that little skinny post across the middle. And every time Jesse Bates will undercut it, so those are things that he going to learn from. And that's why I say in the second game against the Panthers, I think at that point, because we played them later on in the season, he'll have more, games under his belt. He'll watch film and he'll get better. But in this game, he pretty much was just made rookie mistakes. Like when you got a Jesse Bates out there, he's kind of like a guy where you just don't put the ball anywhere in his vicinity. He's the first guy I'm looking for as a quarterback. When I'm going to pass the ball, I'm looking for number 3, wherever number 3 is on the field. And if you listen to guys like Tom Brady, when they played the Ravens, he's like, when I come to the line, I'm looking for number 52, Ray Lewis. I'm looking for number 20. Where's Ed Reed? Where's he lining up at? Because I know he's the guy that can change the game. And in this game, Jesse Bates was the difference in this game. He came up with all 3 turnovers we're talking about was caused by Jesse Bates.
And Falcon 4L said, how do you feel about the linebackers today? Think they play good coverage, but I don't know about the run. Like I said, it's gonna come with time. It's gonna come with time because there was a couple plays. I think it was a couple of the Chuba Hubbard runs where Troy Anderson and Caden Ellis, both of them were guilty of overplaying gaps and allowing the cutbacks to go. But like I said, when it came down to when they really needed it, even when it came down to that first 4th down stop at the beginning of the game, they definitely made the plays when they need to. I think Troy Anderson made plays. Hell, Troy Anderson got the first sack of the season for the Falcons. I didn't call that.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I didn't see
call that at all.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming either. But I think the linebackers will get better. As he said, they didn't play great today, but I don't think nobody actually played other than Jesse Bates. Like nobody really stood out and played great today. I really feel like it was a complete team win. And I think the linebackers will get better. But I was surprised we didn't blitz our linebackers a lot more. And I think that we didn't because in this game, they just, like you said, they were trying to prevent the big play. But I really think they could have rattled Bryce Young a little bit more because you seen when they came with the blitz, the one that Troy Anderson got, it pretty much was like almost a zero blitz. Like we blitzed both linebackers. It was a twist stunt. He came right up, came and he kept fighting and ended up coming away with the sack later on in the game. But if you look at most of the plays where we had our linebackers lined up in the A gap, they end up just dropping off in coverage, and it was just like a 4-man rush. So we didn't do a whole lot of zero blitzing and stuff like that. And I think they did that because, as I mentioned, he's a rookie like Bryce Young. They wanted to make him prove that he can, throw the ball down the field. So they were trying to make it as tough on him as possible. When you do those zero blitzes, you put your corners in harm's way. And we seen today that we didn't have two of our top corners. We didn't have Jeff Okudah, and you didn't have Mike Hughes playing in this game. You had Trey Flowers playing on the outside opposite. And one play, Trey Flowers was cooked. If you remember late in the game, I think he threw the ball down the field to Terrence Marshall, one of those guys, and he was behind the defense. He was way behind. It was like they were backed up on like the 1 yard line, and he threw it deep, but he overshot his man. But Trey Flowers was cooked on that play. So I really think in this game, that was another reason we didn't see a lot of blitzing, is because Trey Flowers is not the fastest guy. And I talked about that a little bit in my video as well, is he was brought on his team to cover tight ends. He's not the best as far as his technique in covering those smaller guys, as far as bump and run coverage. He's an off corner because he's a bigger corner. So I really feel like that was another reason they were kind of trying to protect him by not doing a lot of blitzing, because they knew we were down our top corner.
All right. But like I said, we ain't going to hold y'all up too much longer. Like I said, y'all go ahead over there to Blackberry Lorex channel. They got the post game going on over there right now. And as well as over here on the Six Man K Style channel, you got a post game show going on with the AFN regulator crew. So y'all make sure y'all go over to Blackberry Lorex and get some of their post game going on. Like I said, this was just a makeup from what the hell happened, but it's just a makeup for what we did. So, like I said, y'all make sure y'all go ahead and subscribe to Utah Sports, the Six Man Cows, and Mad Sports. Definitely make sure you go ahead and subscribe, share, and hit the notification button for the Heavy Hitters Live channel, which is this channel. And like I said, hey, make sure you go over there and see what they talking about. Drew, you got any last words for the people?
Oh man, like I said, it was a good victory, 1-0. That's all we could ask for. No matter how it looked, we 1-0 at the end of the day, and we 1-0 in our division at the end of the day. So we got to continue to protect home field. Week 2, we got Green Bay coming in next week, so I'm looking to be 2-0. And just keep this thing moving. But man, y'all definitely go and hit that like and subscribe button on each one of the channels. Definitely hit that subscribe button here on the Heavy Hitters Live channel. We're trying to get this thing over 1,000 subscribers as well. So with that being said, man, that's all I had, man. I appreciate you guys tuning in as always, even with the technical difficulties, man. We appreciate y'all.
All right, then, y'all, man. Like I said, man, until next time, people, deuces.
Peace.